Dr. Reed, is she? Maya, the test is positive. But you haven't seen Elias Thorne in weeks. I can't tell him. He's the most powerful man in the city. He'd take the child and ruin me. Get out. I told you, no one enters my office. Sir, she's just the janitor. Wait. That scent. It's you. Who gave you permission to wear that necklace? It's a Thorne heirloom. I found it. It's none of your business. Liar. Let her go, Julian. Elias? You know this, servant? She's not a servant. As of 10 minutes ago, she is my wife. Married? Elias, have you lost your mind? She has nothing. She has everything I need. Maya, let's go. Music, Mr. Thorne, why are you doing this? We barely know each other. You saved me that night at the gala when I was poisoned. I never forget a debt. But the pregnancy. I know. And that's exactly why we're getting married today. Serafina, did you hear? Elias married the girl who cleans the floors. It won't last. I've already sent the DNA samples to the lab. Once Julian proves that baby isn't a Thorne, she'll be back in the gutter. Exactly. No one marries a nobody that fast unless they're being played. Maya, why are you hiding your shoulder? It's just a scar, Elias. From the fire that killed my parents. This isn't a scar. This is the Sterling crest. Sir, we found him. Marcus Sterling is back in the city. And he's looking for his lost daughter. You mean Maya? Maya Vance. You dare show your face at the Thorne banquet? You're just a gold digger. Serafina, watch your mouth. Elias, I have the results. The baby, it's not yours. Is that so, Julian? Because I had my own test done. And it seems someone switched the files. What? Not only is the baby mine, but Maya, tell them who your father is. My father? That would be me. And if any of you touch my daughter again, I'll buy your companies just to burn them down. Marcus Sterling? Maya. I didn't marry you for your name. I married you because I loved the girl who saved me when I had nothing. Elias. I think the baby just moved. Then let's go home, Mrs. Thorne. Our story is just the silence inside the armored SUV was a stark contrast to the shattered ego Marcus Sterling had left behind on the sidewalk. Outside, the city lights blurred into long, neon streaks, but inside, the air was thick with the scent of expensive leather and the lingering adrenaline of Elias's declaration. Maya leaned her head against the cool glass, her hand still resting protectively over the slight curve of her stomach. The baby had gone quiet again, but the memory of that tiny, fluttery kick felt like a seal on a new contract, one she hadn't realized she was signing until Elias spoke those words. You meant it, she whispered, her voice barely audible over the hum of the engine. About his companies, Elias didn't take his eyes off the road, his grip on the steering wheel steady, yet his knuckles remained white. I spent 10 years building an empire, Maya. If he thinks he can use your family name to leash you, or touch our child, he's about to learn that I didn't build Thorne Enterprises to play fair. I built it to be a fortress, the gilded cage. They arrived at the Thorne estate, a sprawling glass and steel marvel perched on the cliffs overlooking the harbor. It was a far cry from the cramped, one-bedroom apartment where Maya had first found him, shivering with fever and pride, years ago. As the gates hissed shut behind them, Maya felt a strange shiver. For the first time, the luxury felt less like a reward and more like a battle station. Inside the foyer, the lights flickered on automatically, illuminating the minimalist decor. Elias finally turned to her, the predatory coldness in his eyes softening the moment they landed on her face. He reached out, tucking a stray lock of hair behind her ear. You're trembling, he noted, his voice dropping an octave. It's not every day my husband threatens to dismantle a Fortune 500 legacy before dinner, Maya tried to joke, though her smile didn't quite reach her eyes. Marcus won't let this go, Elias. He's spent his whole life being the sun everyone else orbits. You just told him the world is turning without him, then let him go cold, Elias said firmly. A different kind of war. The evening took a turn for the quiet, but the tension remained coiled beneath the surface. While Maya retreated to the master suite to rest, Elias remained in the study. The glow of 3 different monitors reflected in his dark eyes as he scrolled through real-time market data. A soft chime interrupted the silence. It was an encrypted message from his head. Of the morning sun hit the floor-to-ceiling windows of the Thorne Enterprises boardroom like a physical weight. Elias sat at the head of the table, his face a mask of indifferent stone. Across from him sat 3 of Marcus Sterling's most loyal board members, men who had spent decades convinced they were the puppet masters of the city's economy. You're overreaching, Thorne, the eldest, a man named Henderson, spat. Attempting a hostile takeover of Sterling's shipping subsidiaries isn't just aggressive, it's suicide. The contracts are ironclad. Elias didn't blink. He slid a thin, matte black tablet across the mahogany surface. The contracts were ironclad when they were backed by Sterling's liquidity. But as of 4 a.m. this morning, 3 of Marcus's primary offshore lenders have called in their margins. The room went silent. The air seemed to vanish. How? Henderson whispered, his face paling. Because I bought the banks, Elias said simply. I don't want to sit on your board, gentlemen. I want your resignations by noon. If I have them, I'll let you keep your pensions. If I don't, I'll ensure your names are synonymous with the largest bankruptcy in the history of this state, the weight of the crown. While Elias moved global chessboard, Maya was fighting a different kind of battle. She spent the morning in the nursery, a room that was still mostly empty, save for a hand-carved rocking chair. The doctor had cleared her for light activity, but the weight she felt wasn't physical. It was the realization that the life she knew was dissolving. She wasn't just Marcus Sterling's daughter or Elias Thorne's wife anymore. She was the bridge between 2 empires at war. She was interrupted by a soft knock. It was Sarah, Elias's most trusted assistant, holding a heavy, cream-colored envelope. This arrived by courier, Mrs. Thorne. It's addressed only to you. Maya opened it. Inside wasn't a letter, but an old, grainy photograph. It was a picture of a young man, Elias, looking gaunt and desperate, standing outside a Sterling-owned shipyard. But it was the date on the back that made her breath hitch. 2 weeks before she had randomly found him in that alleyway years ago. The girl who saved him hadn't found a stranger. He had been looking for her. The confrontation. When Elias returned home that evening, the house was quiet. He found Maya in the library, the photograph sitting on the desk between them. He stopped in the doorway, his silhouette sharp against the hallway lights. He didn't ask what it was. He knew. You said you loved the girl who saved you, Maya said, her voice steady despite the pounding of her heart. But you didn't tell me you were waiting for her to find you. Elias walked into the room, the scent of rain and expensive cologne trailing him. He didn't apologize. I knew who you were before I ever spoke a word to you, Maya. Marcus had destroyed my father's life. I went to that shipyard to burn it down. I saw you leaving your father's office, looking at the world like you wanted to fix everything you touched. He stopped inches from her, his hand hovering near her waist, waiting for permission. I didn't plan on falling in love, he admitted, his voice cracking for the first time. I planned on using you to get to him. But the moment you touched my hand and asked if I was okay, the plan died. I didn't want the empire anymore. I just wanted the girl. Maya looked at the man she had built a life with. He was a king built on a foundation of secrets, but the look in his eyes was the same one she had seen in that alleyway, a desperate need for a home. Marcus knows, Maya realized. That's why he's so angry. He thinks you stole his daughter to settle a debt. I didn't steal you, Elias growled, his eyes flashing with that familiar, protective fire. I chose you. And I will burn every company he owns to make sure he never tries to take you back. The opening salvo. The moment was shattered by the sound of Maya's phone. It wasn't a call this time, but a news alert that was flashing across every major outlet. Breaking. Sterling Global files lawsuit against Thorne Enterprises. alleges corporate espionage and fraudulent marriage for financial gain. The war was no longer behind closed doors. Marcus Sterling had just gone nuclear. How does Chapter 4 unfold? The countersuit. Elias goes public with the truth about Marcus's past to discredit the lawsuit. The escape. Fearing for the baby's safety amidst the media circus, Elias moves Maya to a black site location, but she realizes she's being kept in a different kind of cage. The meeting. Maya decides to meet Marcus in person. Without Elias, the media swarm was a physical beast, its flashbulbs clawing at the tinted windows of the Thorne estate. Marcus's lawsuit was a masterstroke of character assassination, painting Elias as a predatory grifter and Maya as a brainwashed heiress. Inside the study, the air was cold. Elias was on the phone, his voice a low, lethal hum as he directed his legal teams to scorch the earth. But Maya wasn't listening to the strategy. She was looking at the photograph from Chapter 3, the boy at the shipyard. Elias, she said, cutting through his conversation. He hung up immediately, his attention snapping to her. This ends today. Not in a courtroom, and not on the news. I have it under control. Maya. By tomorrow, his credit rating will be. I don't care about his credit. She stepped closer, taking his hand and placing it firmly back on her stomach. He's trying to prove you don't love me. And you're trying to prove you're powerful enough to own him. Both of you are treating this like a merger. But this is my life. This is our child's life. She grabbed her coat. We're going to the Sterling Plaza. Now, the eye of the storm, they didn't take a back entrance. Elias and Maya walked through the front lobby of Sterling Global, flanked by security but appearing entirely untouchable. The silence that followed them was deafening. They reached the penthouse office without a word. Marcus Sterling sat behind his desk, the city of New York spread out behind him like a conquered map. He looked older than he had 24 hours ago, his eyes rimmed with the red of a man who hadn't slept, fueled only by spite. Back to negotiate your surrender, Thorne. Marcus sneered, not looking at his daughter. No, Maya said, stepping in front of Elias. I'm here to give you a choice. You can proceed with this lawsuit. You can drag our names through the mud, and Elias will undoubtedly bankrupt you in response. You'll win the headlines, he'll win the assets, and you will never see your grandchild. Marcus's hand trembled slightly on the desk. Or, Maya continued, you drop the suit. You retire. You take the buyout Elias offered, which is more than you deserve, and you walk away with your dignity. You won't be a CEO, but you'll be a grandfather. But Marcus, if you choose the company, you lose us. Forever. The final move. The silence stretched for a minute, then two. Marcus looked at Elias, seeing for the first time not a rival, but the man his daughter had chosen to shield. He looked at Maya, seeing the same iron-willed stubbornness that had built the Sterling Empire in the first place. He lied to you from the start, Marcus croaked. He hunted you down, he sought me out for revenge. Maya corrected softly. But he stayed for me. Can you say you've ever done anything for anyone other than yourself? Marcus looked down at the legal papers on his desk. With a shaky hand, he picked up a pen. He didn't sign a merger. He signed a dismissal of all charges and a voluntary resignation. He pushed the papers across the desk, his face suddenly sagging into the mask of an old, tired man. Get out, he whispered. Before I change my mind, the new beginning. They didn't stay to gloat. As they walked out of the building, the sunset was painting the glass towers in shades of gold and copper. The reporters were still there, screaming questions, but Elias didn't look at them. He kept his arm shielded around Maya, ushering her into the car. Once the door shut, the world went quiet again. Elias leaned his forehead against hers. I would have done it, you know. I would have burned it all. I know, Maya said, finally letting out a breath she felt she'd been holding since the night they met. But we don't need the ashes, Elias. We have the home. Elias looked out the window as the Sterling Plaza receded in the distance.